In today's video, we're going to be tackling the question, is Tiffany Dover dead or alive? If you guys aren't familiar with Tiffany Dover, this whole story centers around the COVID-19 or the coronavirus vaccine. This video is not intended to say whether the vaccine is safe or unsafe. This is not an anti-vax video. We're simply tackling the question, is Tiffany Dover dead or alive? Because there's a lot of conspiracy theories swirling online. Now, Tiffany Dover, again, is a nurse from Tennessee. She's a nurse manager, and I want to say she's like 28 or 29 years old, and she went live on television to get a COVID-19 vaccine as part of this public relations push to show people, look, the vaccine is nothing to be scared of. It's safe. So we're seeing a lot of doctors and nurses go on television getting the shot. We're seeing some high-profile people and politicians like Nancy Pelosi, Vice President Mike Pence, and others get their shot live on television. Now, the reason all this is kind of happening is way, way back in the day, Elvis got a polio vaccination live on television, and it did a lot for making people trust vaccines and think vaccines were safe, and it did a lot for kind of rolling out vaccines and making vaccines accepted by the wider public. Now, with the COVID-19 vaccine, there is a decent amount of skepticism about it. A lot of people are scared to take it. COVID-19 has been around for less than a year, which means that the vaccine itself has been in the works for only a matter of months, right? Adding to that, the vaccine is at least two of the vaccines, the Pfizer and the Moderna vaccine, are both mRNA vaccines, which they work differently than normal vaccines. Normal vaccines, you're actually vaccinated with the virus or with a dead form of the virus. The mRNA vaccine actually goes and reprograms your cells so that they can later recognize the spiked COVID protein. So it's a different kind of vaccine, and it's not a vaccine that has ever been used in human trials before. So adding all this together, I don't think there's anything wrong with being skeptical of something that was rolled out very quickly and, something that is the first of its kind. That doesn't mean it's unsafe. They have tested this on a lot of people. But again, it was rolled out quickly, and I don't think anything can replace time, right? Like, we could have somebody sit at this table here and smoke a pack of cigarettes, and they may not feel great, but they're not going to die of lung cancer after an hour. We could even have somebody sit and smoke cigarettes for a couple weeks, a couple months, even a couple years, and nothing may happen. But we do know later on down the road, smoking cigarettes is going to cause issues, and it's something that's going to take time to set in. And so I think it's understandable or fair that people would want some framework of time to pass by and say, okay, this person had the vaccine, a year has passed, they're still alive and well, they've had kids since then, it hasn't caused any problems in their life. Okay, I feel okay about taking this. So I just wanted to give a little bit of background about this whole story and why she's on television getting this vaccine. Here's kind of the story. So in a second, you're going to see a video here of her being vaccinated. A couple minutes after being vaccinated, she's kind of talking to reporters, and she's saying, hey, I just took the vaccine. I feel fine. I feel great. My staff's about to get the vaccine. We're really excited to roll this out, and we want to bring it to more people. And she winds up passing out and fainting, which isn't super uncommon. Some people, when they feel pain, pass out. Some people, when they get shots or get blood drawn, pass out. It's not necessarily a super uncommon thing. Why they chose somebody who's known to faint when they get shots to be the spokesman for why you shouldn't be skeptical about this vaccine is kind of silly to me. But nonetheless, she was the one chosen, and that's kind of the reason she gave for why she ultimately passed out. Now, after she passed out, rumors began swirling that she was dead. Initially, she didn't come out and make a public statement, nor did the hospital make a statement about this. After these rumors swirling for a couple days, eventually the hospital put out this video, which we're going to be taking a look at in a second. And a lot of people are saying this doesn't look like her. Whether it looks like her or not, one weird thing that you'll see in this video is that she, assuming this is her, some people are saying this doesn't look exactly like her. It's also kind of weird, like the video they took, like the lighting's kind of weird. Nobody says anything, they just all kind of like wave at the camera. It's just kind of weird. And then what's also kind of spurred a lot of the skepticism is another video that we're going to take a look at in a second here. And I'm going to let this play just so that we can get through this advertisement. But there have been a number of people getting vaccinated where, I don't know if you guys can see this, but this plunger is already pushed, right? So basically, like, this guy was given an empty syringe. And I feel like the whole rollout of this has been really botched. There's been a number of high-profile people or people who've gone on camera to get the vaccine early on. And I believe Nancy Pelosi's vaccine, people took still shots of the video, and there's still a cap on the needle. I believe there was some type of governor or prime minister in either Australia or the UK who publicly went on television to get the vaccine. She also had a cap on her needle. I forget whether it was like Serbia or Macedonia, but like the prime minister or president of either like Serbia, Macedonia, some Eastern European country, he was reportedly getting his infant or very young nephew vaccinated, which I'm not really sure why they were doing that, because at least here in the States, the FDA has said that we have not done trials on people under 16 years of age, and they should not get the vaccination. But nonetheless, they went on TV to show his infant nephew getting the vaccine, and again, the cap was on. So just all of this initial rollout of the vaccine in terms of the PR has been done very poorly. A lot of people, again, are speculating Tiffany Dover is dead. It was kind of weird that she didn't come out and make a statement, neither did the hospital. And a lot of people are reportedly showing obituaries and death records from online that show a 29-year-old Tiffany Dover from, I forget whether it was Tennessee or Alabama, because I think she is originally from Alabama, but allegedly showing death certificates. Now, most of these record sites are kind of inaccurate. You do have, multiple people with similar names. Dover is a pretty common last name. And a lot of these sites' records can be manipulated or changed. So I'm not putting too much stock in that. We're just going to be covering kind of some of the weird things about this story. So here is Tiffany Dover getting her vaccine.
But just minutes later, this happens.
So she gets the vaccine. A couple minutes later, she's about to do this press thing.
Sorry.
And she's feeling kind of woozy.
Tiffany Dover fainted as she spoke to reporters at a hospital in Chattanooga, Tennessee. But it turns out it wasn't a reaction to the vaccine. Tiffany has a medical condition. And
so here's what's weird, right? I forget the name of her medical condition, but she has a medical condition where when she feels pain, she faints and passes out. Now, when you're trying to instill confidence in this vaccine in the public, would you select somebody who you know has a condition that makes them faint when they get shots? Like, regardless of whether that's true or not true, the optics of it are just horrible, right? I'm also kind of surprised that she's able to be a nurse. Like, I guess her condition is not when she sees blood or sees somebody get a shot, she passes out, but when she feels pain. But what if she's working on a patient and her back's bothering her or something like that? Is she just going to conk out and fall over? Nursing and really a lot of jobs in the healthcare field are very physically demanding. You're lifting people, you're moving people, you may have to hold people down, you have to help people walk at times. My girlfriend works in the healthcare industry, and she oftentimes has a lot of pain from her job. So I'm surprised that this girl isn't passing out left and right. But that's the reason that was given. Oh, she's got this condition. Well, why did you, it's just really weird. It's really bad optics that you would pick somebody who faints when they get shots to be the face of why this shot is safe. Here's another thing that I just found kind of odd about this is typically if somebody has a history of fainting, they know when it's coming on. I don't even have a history of fainting, but occasionally, how when you stand up really fast and you get that kind of fuzziness in your head, if I feel that coming on really strong, I'll normally sit down because I don't think I'm going to faint, but I don't want to take the chance of falling over and cracking my head. I do know people who faint when they're nervous or faint when they get blood drawn. And if you've ever fainted before, you know the feeling coming on, right? You start feeling a little bit weird. You start feeling tingles in your arms or your head or your face. Your vision kind of starts going in and out or getting kind of fuzzy. And most people who have a history of fainting, when they feel that, they'll immediately sit down or try to brace themselves because they know what's coming. So it's kind of weird to me that she kind of stood there for a second oh, I'm sorry. I'm not feeling, I would have thought that she would have been I need to sit down. But you guys kind of saw her fainting there. So a couple days go by. She hasn't been seen in public. The hospital hasn't made a statement and refused to put out a statement. And then eventually they kind of cave and realize, public pressure is kind of on. We better put something out. So here's the video they put out. Let me turn up here's what's really weird, too. There's no volume. Nobody says anything. Let's pull up.
Vaccinated, but just minutes later, this happens.
I'm sorry.
Turns out it wasn't a reaction to the vaccine. Reporters.
I have passed out probably 6 times in the past 6 weeks.
So she gave a brief statement here. So let's see. We'll look at her face there. She's got blue eyes here. The lighting's really bad. You know, I don't think it's fair to try to judge what color her eyes are from this shot. But actually, let's see. The lighting's really bad. To me, it doesn't look like she has blue eyes. It looks like she has darker eyes. I'm guessing brown or hazel here. But again, the lighting's really poor. I mean, I can't really tell what color eyes anybody has. So we're not going to read too much into that. Just as far as like facial structure and things like that, people are commenting on like the shape of her eyebrows, the shape of her eyes. She's kind of, she's kind of got big blue eyes. We can't really see much of her nose, but we kind of see the bridge of her nose. Let's see if we can see like her body at all. Okay. Okay, let's go back to this photo. Eyebrows. I don't want to read too much into this. To me here, it looks like her eyebrows are pretty straight. To here, it looks like her eyebrows have a little bit more of a curve to them. But I'm not really convinced that this isn't her based on her eyebrows either. I'm not going to waste a bunch of time going back and forth. You guys can find pictures of her. The woman in this photo, and I've looked back and forth earlier when I had my dual monitors up, I was looking on 2 screens. The woman in this photo, assuming it's, I'm talking the woman as if it's not her, it very may well be her, but this woman looks a little bit more like broad-shouldered, stockier. Tiffany Dover here looks much more petite, much skinnier. The woman here, to me, looked a lot bustier. Let's see, forehead. I guess they both kind of got big foreheads. But here's the video. Right? Nobody's talking. They shoot to a faraway view. Right, like that. We can watch the rest of it. There's not much more of the video. Just seems very odd. I hear a lot of people saying like, "Oh, she's nervous in front of the camera. She doesn't owe the public. Anything. She doesn't have to come out." Initially, her social media profiles were up and open to the public. And I think after this happened, the statement that came out that was allegedly from her said something along the lines of, I'm feeling better. Please respect my privacy. Da-da-da. And I get that when something like this goes national, your Facebook profiles, your friends and family are probably all being bombarded by media and conspiracy theorists and random people. If you went on her Instagram, there was literally hundreds of comments like, will you just come out and say if you're okay? Are you okay? Are you still alive? So, I get that this attention is probably overwhelming, and I wouldn't necessarily blame somebody for deleting their social media, turning their social media onto private, etc. A lot of people have said, no wonder she wants privacy. She wasn't looking to be famous. But ultimately, at the end of the day, she is a healthcare provider. She volunteered to put herself out there and go public and be the face of this vaccine and why this vaccine is safe and why you should take it. She works in healthcare. She obviously believes in the efficiency of vaccines. She believes vaccines are a good thing. She wants people to trust vaccines and believe that they're safe. And that's why she was the public face of this and why she did this PR. I don't want to say PR stunt. I just can't think of a better word. Why she did this press event. And so you would think that somebody who believes in vaccines and wants people to trust vaccines and wants people not to be skeptical, this is probably the biggest thing we've seen thus far in making people question it and leading to conspiracy theories and things like that. So if you're Tiffany Dover and you want people to get the vaccine and you think it's good for people and you want people to believe it's safe and trust it, all you have to do is put out a 10 or 15 second long Instagram video and tell people, hey guys, look, I'm still alive. I appreciate the well wishes. I'm flattered that you guys cared about me and were concerned about me. Believe me, I'm perfectly safe. I'm perfectly healthy. Please just respect my privacy. And thank you. You know, she could have come out and made a 10 or 15-second statement saying that, but she's been completely silent. And the only kind of like proof or reassurance we have is this kind of like random video, which really has kind of sparked more questions and made more people kind of asking things. So that just kind of surprised me. Now, from a no way is she dead, that's just kind of too crazy. Could this really be swept under the rug? You think that none of her family members, none of her friends, none of her coworkers, none of her neighbors would kind of break their silence or come out and say something? You know, it's not as simple as if, oh, you just need to silence one or two people. I've heard people say that there's a gag order or people have been paid off. You know, it's one thing if you, okay, we'll pay off a dozen of her coworkers. Okay, we'll pay off her family and her immediate friends. But like, think how deep this runs, right? Like, if think about you, your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister, a good friend of yours. Think about if they died, you know, during something like this. Like, are you really going to pay off everybody that knows her? You're going to pay off all her friends, all her family members, all her neighbors, her hairstylist, her nail technician, her dentist, the kid down the block she babysits for. You know, you're really going to silence this many people. It just seems like it's eventually going to come out if that were the case. And just another thing as far as that goes is the one thing I could see and that I was thinking initially is like if she died, rather than coming out and announcing it right away before people get shots, and you know, with anything, the longer you can bury a story, the less effect it has when it finally comes out. So, you know, even if she really did die, if you could kind of keep that silent for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, 6 weeks, by the time that news comes out, like, yeah, it is pretty shocking. Like, oh, they lied to us, we were deceived. But so much time has passed that it's kind of in the past and it's kind of been forgotten about. So I guess only time will tell, right? Like, will Tiffany Dover ever make a public post on her Facebook or Instagram again? Will TMZ catch a shot of her getting Dunkin' Donuts in the morning or Starbucks in the afternoon on break from a shift? Will she eventually come out and make some type of statement? Or will we just never hear from her again? Or will it wind up being leaked in a couple of weeks that, oh yeah, it turns out she is dead. Sorry, guys. And I did mention, I'm kind of way past this part of the story, but just so that you guys can see where some of this skepticism is coming from. This guy in El Paso was allegedly getting I believe he's a male nurse in El Paso. He was getting a COVID-19 vaccine. As you can see here, this plunger is already fully depressed. And as we'll see in the video, the nurse who's giving the shot is kind of like being really weird. Like when you give somebody a shot, you fucking press the plunger slowly and you pull the needle out. Like here, like they're waggling their finger around to each side of it. They're like trying to slowly press it and tap it. Like it almost seems like they're like trying to make it seem like they're doing something when they're not doing anything. But look at this here. So the vaccine's in his arm. Actually, I think we're going to see it from the start. So they take the cap off. As you can see, this plunger. Let's see. Okay, you see this? This plunger is completely depressed. There's absolutely nothing in here. Now watch the nurse's finger. Press it, nothing happens. They kind of lift it up, nothing happens. Like, there's nothing in here whatsoever. So just this whole rollout of this thing has been a public nightmare disaster. They haven't done a good job of instilling confidence in people. And I'm just going to kind of wrap the video up there. There's a lot more deep diving we could do into looking at obituaries and looking at Ancestry.com. I don't put a whole lot of stock in that. There are some weird things going on with this. I'd be curious to hear your guys' thoughts. Have you seen or heard any more evidence? Let me know your thoughts. Drop a comment down below. If you're not subscribed to the channel, click that subscribe button. If you enjoyed today's video, give this video a thumbs up, and we'll catch you on the next one.